What's up, everybody? My name is Scott Waters. Welcome to the Life to Metal. I'm going to be doing a what's spinning for my car today. I haven't done one of these in a long time, and it was requested by a good friend of mine, Greg the Egg, or Rainbow Rising? No, Blackmore Rules on YouTube. So I do listen to music in my car quite a bit. I don't spend as much time in my car as I used to, but I still listen to music quite a bit in my car. So I thought I'd share. I don't know, I've got quite a few here. We'll see. This video might be broken up into 2 parts, but starting off with what's playing in the background. Red Mesa. Red Mesa are a local band from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and they play what is self-described as desert doom. Albuquerque is in high desert area, so yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, basically what you have here is doom. Some would call it stoner rock. I don't know, it sounds more doom to me than stoner rock, but just very good stuff. Really enjoyed this one on the very first spin. One thing about this band, and this, I think it's their 3rd album. I think this might be the first album for this player, but unfortunately the photographs in this layout are not very good. But right here, that is Alex Cantwell. Alex Cantwell not only is a good friend of mine, but he was the bass player for a short spell in Ultimatum. He played a couple shows with us, recorded a cover of Testament's Sins of Omission with us. A great guy. Been friends with him for decades, so really cool stuff if you're into Desert Doom. Red Mesa there on Desert Records. Yeah, Desert Records. So there you go. All right, next up, let's see this. They're just doom. And oh, also, there's a guest vocal on here by Wino, who of course is a doom legend, who sang with many different doom bands. So anyhow, Riot City up next. Spin this one quite a bit. Riot City are a Canadian traditional heavy metal band. They are definitely steeped and rooted in the new wave of traditional heavy metal sound, but very much a new band. This is their first album on No Remorse Records out of Greece. Very good band. If you like that new wave of traditional heavy metal sound, which there's a ton of bands playing that style right now, which is great. I love the fact that younger bands are playing fantastic traditional metal, then you probably dig Riot City. Matter of fact, these guys, this came out, what, 2019? I saw this on a lot of lists in the vinyl community on YouTube. A lot of top 20 lists for the year 2019. So if you're into that style, really good band. This next album is a Rocks Records release. Now, one thing many don't know about me is, despite the fact that I love thrash metal, I love death metal, I love traditional metal, I love 70s hard rock, 70s metal, doom. I actually do like a bit of old school rap. I'm not much into the stuff that's come out in recent years, but back in the 80s, I dug some of that stuff, and I really dig some of the rap metal stuff that happened. And I'm not talking about the rap core stuff, but XL and DVD is one of those bands that I really dig. This band here, this is their, I think, his 4th or 5th album, but this is the newest one. But 2020 release.
More blood must come, now the dragon's beast in the desert sun.
facilitate. But if you don't like rap, chances are you're not going to dig this. But if you like a little bit old school rap mixed with your metal, that's what you got here with XL and DVD. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of especially what's going on with rap in the last 20 years. I really haven't kept up with rap, but I like some of the 80s stuff, and I still have some of it in my collection. So anyhow, but I kind of hear that influence in XL's music. XL is old school as can be, so. Play a little bit of a different song here. Total groove to it, you know, if you're into that. I'm going to play the song Reckless Abandon. I'm pretty sure. It's track number 6.
I'm still here. It's double 20 no time. The 7 times 50. Behold, I'm alive. The devil kills. I found out for real. So I pour into a set like uranium steel. I'm taking ill like a twist in the match out. Hit a fast dance. No longer fragile. I used to have a soft walk outwardly. Scared of people's thoughts. How cowardly. But now look at me. Examine what I got. Use caution. With of electric shock. Push what goes inside and occupies his whole leg. There's one got one there to avoid fire shot.
Alright, so there you have it. I know most people who listen to my channel aren't into the rap thing, but I like XL and DVD. I have since their very first album, which came out, I believe the first album came out like around 92, 93. Way ahead of the curve as far as like before all the new metal and rapcore stuff was coming out. But again, they weren't really core. They weren't really doing the new metal thing. He actually was had a lot of traditional metal players on there, like guys from Deliverance and the Crucified and other bands like that. Oh, and then yes, it is on Rock's Records, so it is a Christian metal release. So someone said that I have not been letting people know when it's a Christian metal release if I'm showing one. It's all metal to me, so metal is metal, and but this is a Christian metal release. So there you go. Anyhow, all right, back to the traditional metal stuff. This is U.S. power metal, you know, pushing the boundaries of thrash, but pretty much staying within the heavy metal range. This is Heretic. This is their third album, A Time for Change. I love this album. I spin this a lot. This has been re-released on vinyl. It's been released on CD by several different companies. So fantastic U.S. heavy metal album. I'd say about half the songs here are written by Glenn Rogers. Glenn Rogers is one of my favorite guitar players. He's played in Steel Vengeance. He's played in Deliverance. He's played in Hyrax, obviously in Heretic. He's played in Primal. And he's doing a brand new project right now. Then he's working on new music, which is fantastic. But yeah, half songs on here written by him. The other half are written by the original guitar player, who I'll show you a picture of. There he is, Brian Corbin. And Brian and Glenn had been friends since they were kids, literally, had been playing in bands together. So it was only natural that they eventually get together in Heretic. And if you don't know who Heretic are, Heretic was a metal blade band from the 80s. They put an EP out with the original vocalist, Julian Mendez. Yeah, Julian Mendez. Then they put out a full-length album with Metal Church vocalist Mike Howe before he was in Metal Church. Metal Church swiped him basically from the band, and so Mike Howe went on to Metal Church, and then the original Metal Church vocalist went on to sing for the guys in Heretic, but they changed their name to Reverend. So Reverend was basically a Heretic with Metal Church's first singer with them. Anyhow, yeah, it was kind of a weird thing, you know, it was like wife swap kind of deal. So, hang on, my car just turned off here. But yeah, I'm gonna pop this in real quick, so you can kind of get a taste of this while I'm going to the next one. But if you love traditional heavy metal or power metal, U.S. power metal, you know, in the tradition of bands like Metal Church and Reverend, this Heretic album is phenomenal. And it's got pretty much an all-star cast too. So it's got Reverend bassist on here, Angelo Espino. Angelo, who had also played on the Hyrax, a couple Hyrax albums, but he was on the New Age of Terror, also with Glenn Rogers. So those two guys just managed to put out some great stuff together. Angelo Espino also plays with Betsy Bitch as well. I think he still does to this day. kind of an epic intro. Angelo. That's Glenn Rogers. Wearing a Rainbow Rising shirt. Cool shirt. Alright, so you go, that's a little bit of Heretic. Gives you kind of an idea of what they sound like. Next up, I can't play every one of these. If I play every one of these, I'll be here forever. So, alright, so next up, this is Canadian progressive death metal band, Beyond Creation. I think this might be their second album. They have like 4 albums out, I believe. This is on Seasons of Mist. And yeah, just been obsessed with this band for like the last 6 months. Actually, this band and one other band I'm going to show, I just keep going through their catalog, playing it over and over and over again. There's just something about this band that really just attracts me, pulls me in. Love the bass playing in this band. You don't usually say that when you think of metal. You don't think of bass playing as being out front, unless you're talking about Iron Maiden. But the bass player in this band, whose name I have no clue what his name is off the top of my head. Forrest is his nickname, but Dominic Leponte, I believe so. Dominic Forrest Leponte, playing the fretless bass. Yeah, this guy is integral into the sound of this band, and one of the main reasons I dig them. I mean, they write great songs. Obviously, they're very progressive. They have they're heavy as, you know, heavy as a loaded freight train coming at you at full speed. But they also have melody. Definitely have the death metal growls in the vocals, but there's just something very different about them from, you know, the normal straightforward death metal band. Like I said, very progressive songwriting. So if you're into that progressive metal, you probably dig these guys. You know, they tend to have their fast death metal parts, but they mix it all up. Like early Opeth. You know, early Opeth was like that. Very much death metal, but very progressive. Later, Opeth gets very progressive and just moves straight out of death metal. But even like some of the Amorphous stuff was early on was death metal mixed progressive, where they mixed in melody, you know, stuff like that. But very much unique. They don't sound like any other particular band. Beyond Creation from Canada. Next up, another Canadian band, Entropy. I believe this is their first album. This is from 1992. This is called Action. Let's see if I can actually pronounce this. Action Existence. Holy cow! Can't speak. By the way, it is very early in the morning here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's been hot here in the hundreds, which is unusual for here. It's usually in the 90s. But so I thought I'm going to do this video early in the morning when it's cool out. I don't have to have the car and the air conditioning running. It's just the windows open. There's a nice cool breeze running through. So yeah, anyhow. So it's early. That's why I'm stumbling a lot. I literally got out of bed, took a shower. My hair is still wet, and I just walked outside with a handful of CDs, and I'm threw the recorder on the car, and I'm just winging it. So there you go. But anyhow, this is traditional thrash metal. Great stuff. I've shown these guys before, other albums. I think they have 3 albums out total. Their last album, which I think was just called 3, and then this album are really just pure traditional thrash. The album in between it has a bit more of a groove feel to it, which was later on in the 90s when a lot of thrash metal bands are kind of mixing in that heavy groove in its sound. But for the most part, this is just old school thrash metal. Great band from Canada. Entropy, Ashen Existence, 1992. Yeah, I can't get enough of this. Glenn Rogers lead if I ever heard one. That's awesome. All right, Don. All right, yeah, I'm gonna do a little self-pimping here. This is a band on my own label, but what can I say? I like this album a lot. I've been spinning it quite a bit. This is Hellbender, American Nightmare. This is their, I think it's their second or third album, but it's their first album on my label, nolifetilmetal Records, and it is getting some great reviews worldwide. These guys are a bit more modern than most of the stuff that I have, put out in my label, but they have. I'm just gonna spin some of it real quick for you guys. Yeah, it's gonna be a long video, so strap in. It might end up being a two-parter because I still have a lot of CDs to go, and I keep wanting to play this stuff. So, Hellbender are, they have a lot of thrash influences, traditional Maiden influences, like the whole, melodic guitar soloing and stuff like that. But they also have like some more modern influences, like you hear a bit of, kind of Lamb of God style music in here as well at times, which I'm not a fan of that style at all. But I do dig these guys. I wouldn't have signed them if I didn't like it. So there you go. But my favorite song in here is called Rosa. But you can't go wrong with any songs on here. Left with Nothing, Pure Hate, Born Dead, Rosa, End of Days, American Nightmare, Winterbone, and In Hell. I mean, it's just the whole album is great. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It's you're done listening to it and you're ready for more. So it's not. They just chose their best songs. You know what I mean? A lot of bands they'll cram 14 songs on an album and they just put everything that they've put together, and they didn't do that on here. So anyhow, Rosa. Like I said, some traditional thrash metal. But as you can hear, vocalist Dollar Bill does have kind of more of that hardcore delivery. I mean, very much a hardcore vocalist in a thrash band. The song's actually about the fires that decimated Santa Rosa, California a few years ago. Yeah, great album. If you're interested, nolifetilmetalrecords.com. It's only, I think, $10.99 right now. Hellbender, American Nightmare. All right, next up. All right, I'm gonna have three from the same band. I said I was obsessed with Beyond Creation. This is the other band I've been obsessed with. And again, I'm gonna pimp myself a little bit, but I don't care. I've shown this one a bazillion times on different videos. I just love this record. This is Madrost, the essence of Time Machine, No Flesh. Progressive thrash metal. They mix melody. They mix, again, it's very extreme music. When I say thrash metal, they very much are influenced by the likes of Coroner and Creator and Sodom and that kind of more extreme thrash metal. Slayer, but they are very much progressive. So you hear a lot of stuff. I mean, I've had discussions with Tanner, who is the guitar player, vocalist in the band, and I mean he likes progressive rock too. Things like King Crimson and Eloy, and I think we were talking about Gentle Giant last time we were talking about music. So you kind of get a mixture of that prog rock mixed with thrash metal and just a touch of death metal. I mean, to call this death metal is really stretching it, but you do hear a little bit of that influence in here. But yeah, I've been saying a lot about these guys. I like them a lot. So as soon as I found that they were recording a new album, I immediately asked Tanner, "Are you interested in, do you have a label? Are you interested in putting it out on a label?" And he's like, "Absolutely." So we are working with Tanner and the new Madrost, which is coming out and going on sale on the first weekend in August. It's their fourth album. It's coming out on my label, and I'm super excited about it. Big fan of this band, so really cool that they were wanting to work with us, and we can work together to just put out some more great progressive thrash metal. All right, I'm going to put away the Hellbender, because this next one I'm going to play a little bit of it. Anyhow, great stuff. I love this Hellbender. Love Madrost. Droster from California, Hellbender from California. But this next band, well, this next release is actually the same band. It's from Madrost. But this is earlier stuff. They have 3 albums total out. The 4th one's coming out. It's actually, the release date is in September. Like I said, goes on sale the first week of August, pre-sale. The first 50 pre-sales are going to end up getting a free embroidered patch and sticker, so a little bonus for buying early. But this early stuff is very much, you know, like I said, I was talking about, you know, Corner and Creator and Sodom. Just has that European thrash metal sound. But like I said, these guys are from California. Not a carbon copy of any one band at all. Very much their own unique sound. But you can tell early on they wore their influences a little more on their sleeves than they do with an album like this, where they're very much a unique animal. But still, I've been obsessed with this album. I'm not kidding. I've probably played this thing 10, 15 times through over the last month or so. Kind of that creepy, haunting intro doesn't last long, and the intensity never lets up. It's like a jackhammer on your brain for the entire album. It's fantastic. You gotta love it. That's just good stuff. that's metal right there, man. And I just love that kind of stuff. So, and anyhow, and then this one as well. Now this one I've only been spinning for like the last week. Again, very much like this album, where it's more straightforward thrash metal. You know, a jackhammer to your brain the entire time. It's very different from what they are now. They're not. I'd say they're progressive, but not anywhere near as progressive as what they're doing now. So this is Into the Aquatic Sexer. Again, these guys lyrically very much into fantasy and sci-fi and those kind of things. If you go to Metal Archives and look, it says they're into gore and stuff. I don't really see that. Perhaps on like this album here, there's a song in here called Crypt Keeper and Desecrator and Necrosis. So a zombie grinder. So I guess, yeah, early on they kind of had that kind of thing going on. But honestly, much more now into the kind of the fantasy ideas. They kind of steer clear of like religion and politics and those kind of things, and stick more towards the sci-fi thing. Let's skip into another song here. Like I said, jackhammer to the brain, just relentless metal. This whole album is just fantastic. I totally dig that band. Anyhow, like I said, I've been addicted to them, so and excited that I'm going to get to be able to release that on my label. So, all right, next up, totally moving away from the thrash metal sound. This is Of Gods and Monsters, and the name of the album is Sons of Armageddon. This is kind of a, I guess you can call it a super group. It's made up of a bunch of guys you probably know the names from. So you've got Kevin Gutscher, who I believe sang for Omen for a while. Joey Tafoya, who of course has been in tons of different bands, but Jack Panzer was his most well-known band. Timothy Gaines, right there, who of course was in Stryper and Sin Dizzy, and then of course Dean Castronova, who's been in a bazillion bands. But this is very much melodic, European style power metal. It's not like the Heretic style power metal that I was playing earlier. This is very much more in the European style of power metal. As you can probably tell by the cover. I mean, the cover pretty much tells you what you're going to get. I do know that this one is getting a vinyl release in the near future, which I'm looking forward to getting, because right now it's only available on CD on an obscure label. but it's just released this year. It's a brand new release for 2020. Hellophone Music. I don't even know if that's the label or if it's just the band put this out themselves, to be honest with you. And as soon as I know what label's releasing the vinyl, I will let you guys know as well. But yeah, power metal, good stuff. This next album I've promoted before. I don't promote these things. When I say promote, it's not like these labels are paying me to promote this stuff. I just show stuff I like. And this is one I've been spinning quite a bit. Man, bad glare, sorry. But this is Freeways, True Bearings. And I have played clips of this one before. Hugely inspired by the likes of bands like Thin Lizzy, Wishbone Ash, early Iron Maiden, where it has that, you know, dual guitars and the melody mixed in with the heavy music. But a very 70s influenced band, more so than like an 80s influenced band. Definitely playing, you know, traditional heavy metal, but more early 80s. Like you heard a lot in the new wave of British heavy metal movement early on, before it kind of moved, you know, with bands like Venom and Raven and Iron Maiden pushing things to the more heavier side. This is, you know, a little more melodic, a little more 70s style hard rock than it is more extreme metal. Freeways, True Bearings. And then one more record, one more CD I've got left, so try and keep this thing under 30 minutes since I'm showing so much music, but I'm gonna pop this out and play this last one. We'll probably get a strike for playing this one, but whatever. But this is Ted Nugent, Crave Man. Very heavy album for Ted. Again, it's Ted. If you like Ted Nugent, you're not gonna, you know, there's no surprises here. It's not like he suddenly jumped down and he's doing, you know, like a mixture of rap, jazz, metal. No, it's just, you know, Nugent style, in your face, full bluntal Nugent-y rock and roll. So, but. Like I said, loud guitars, feedback, in your face, Nugent. That's all this is. So there you go, a little Nugent. I actually was having a discussion with a guy at one of the places that I work with, and we were talking about, you know, Nugent and the Amboy Dukes and Damn Yankees and all the things he's been involved with, and he was very much into the more melodic stuff. He loved the Damn Yankees, and he liked some of Nugent's 80s stuff, but he really wasn't all that familiar with stuff after that. So I was kind of listening to some of this later stuff, giving it a spin just so I could say something intelligent about it, and made a kind of a compilation of stuff for him. So anyhow, but this is one I've been spinning in my car quite a bit. The song's called Crave. Anyhow, you get the idea. So Nugent, Crave Man, and that is what I've been spinning in my car. Honestly, that's not all, because I've not done one of these in a while. But the amount of CDs I have to show would be ridiculous. So I just pulled out a handful of them stuff I haven't shown in a while. Or just stuff that's been really obsessing me, like the Madras, where I've been listening to a lot of their stuff over and over and over again. So that's it. Appreciate y'all watching. Thanks for the request. Talk to you soon. God bless. Stay strong.